Hey y'all.
Hi.
Well,
It is a day.
It is.
it is another day. It is a Sunday.
It's a Sunday.
It is Sunday shift.
It is a Sunday shift.
Sunday shift.
None of us are having a great week. And so that's all you need to know about how we're doing.
Yep. That's
That's
it.
all I got.
I had a lovely time outside yesterday.
I followed your trek on your bike and I was like, ugh, Tanya, I need to go do something. I said this to Sandra. I was like, Tanya's on her bike going through the whole bay. I guess I'll get up and do an exercise video. It's really, I was like mad at you, like, ugh, Tanya.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you have to just really will yourself, but I was just will yourself to go outside. But once you're outside, man, no matter what you're doing, even if you're riding your bike or walking or just sitting outside, I recommend that. Just go outside and just breathe the air and let
while we can.
Yeah, while you can, feel the sun on your face and just let, nature just kind of infuse itself into you and give you some peace. I wish that on everyone, even especially if you're not feeling good.
That's right.
Yeah.
Sandra looks scandalized. I meant while we can, not like because the world is ending. I mean, it is, but because, not fire season yet is what I meant.
Yeah, it's not fire season. And it's not too hot. Yeah.
Either way, there was an apocalyptic context. I was about to say actually that I sat outside and ate 6 different kinds of lumpia yesterday. So Tanya and I were basically doing the same thing.
Yeah. I'm gonna just be real with y'all. I got so high on Friday night that I wasn't not high until today. I think is what happened. And so I didn't get out of bed until like 5 p.m. yesterday. But I was in bed watching General Hospital Night Shift on Discord with Susie and Britt and Ray and a couple other of our Twitter friends. So I was basically, no, I can't even pretend like I was outside. I did nothing outside.
You were so high that you missed lumpia outside. That's very high.
And I love lumpia.
Yeah, and those things go together really well, but I understand the journey you were on was different than mine.
That journey was, y'all. Anyway, so are y'all ready to hop into week 2 of being unswept? I'm a little less dusty.
Yeah.
A little less dusty.
Sure.
No, I'm still pretty dusty.
Damn. All right, let's get into this recap. I tried to, so we'll see what happens. It's better than last week where I was just like, things happen, y'all, which I felt like it was really bad last week. But I wrote some things out. Okay. TJ was upset that Hat Daddy left town. He defended him to Curtis. After talking to Jordan, he decided that he and Molly would head to New York and track Marshall down via the clues from his clarinet. Amy continues to be the absolute worst. She complained to Nina about Terry, and we have several manlanders mentioned. It was like a trifecta of things I hate. Nina, Amy, and manlanders. Anyway, Chet and Terry had a date at the Metro Court Gardens, and both Terry and Amy realized their connection through Chet. Spencer continues to prove that his plans are just vibes and tells Cameron he hasn't been able, to look for any clues on Esme, and then he's been trying to find ways to avoid having sex with her. So I guess that's part of the plan. Cameron, annoyed, tells him to go home and look now. Spencer went back to Windermere and through his powers of shoe deduction, find letters from Esme's nanny and the pills she used to drug Trina. Finally, Spencer is caught by Esme and thinks that he lies his way out of their encounter, but Esme is on to him thanks to her daddy, Ryan. Spencer takes a loose pill to Britt and finds out that it's a narcotic and puts together that it was used to drug Trina. If you thought that meant he would bring in an actual adult on his non-plan, you would be wrong, as he brutally pushes Britt away. Trina and Josh run into Rory at yoga. Josh hypes up Trina as a best friend should, and Esme snoops, so she also sees the Rowena sparks. Esme goes to Kelly's and sees Cam. She cries and hugs him, which Josh sees and goes off about. This motivates Trina to call Ava, who tells her she should flirt with Spencer. Trina rejects this because y'all know anytime Trina tries to flirt with Spencer, she is the one who gets overcome because Spencer's with it. Speaking of tears, Nina and Ava are at Charlie's where Nina is slamming Carly, and when Carly walks in, she shuts up and cries about her grandparents' rights. Carly, being the nosy mess she is, but my nosy mess, by the way, tries to get info out of Phyllis about Nell and Willow's birth. Carly steals Nina's glass and gets busted by Drew. She has to tell him about Harmony's last words and Willow's potential maternity. They head to the carriage house and Carly steals Willow's toothbrush too. It is as ridiculous as you imagine it to be. Even more ridiculous, she asks Britt about how to run a paternity test. Where is Robin when you need her? On Nina Prop Duty this week, if you are tracking, we have Sunny, Phyllis, Valentine, Curtis, and Felicia. Ryan reestablishes that Esme has to sleep with Nicholas, hashtag Ick Rising. The town gathers for a kids' art show. I don't know if you're not feeling swept yet, but a kids' art show is supposed to do it for you. Apparently, Scout's art is really good. Anyway, Michael declares that he's going to take Sunny down, whatever that means. Ned feels that Michael and Drew are trying to push him out of ELQ. We actually don't even know what ELQ does. And Olivia lets it slip to Valentine that ELQ and Aurora might be merging. Dun, 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 dun. And all of that has been your week. How did y'all feel about it? And what were your favorite moments? I see your swept away faces.
Yeah. I remain unswept. I'm not really sure how a children's art fair is a sweeps event. I believe in the arts, you know. I think they're really important. They're like an important thing every month. They're not a sweeps event. Neither is going to get your nails done.
It is a nice set though.
Sure. It is a nice set. GH does have some nice sets. I'll give that to them.
Great gals, beautiful gals is what you just said.
Yeah. Favorite moment? I mean, in general, I thought Monday's episode was the best. I'm gonna give up my favorite moment to Chet and Terry. They were so cute. First of all, Terry was stunning. I was like Chet the whole time because Chet was like giving her the heart eyes, just like, what can't Cassandra do? Because, okay, I don't know if Chris has had some acting coaching since he was last on like a few years back, but I will give him, he is very much improved. And you know, it's just like the light of Cassandra James just like shining on him. He was like, I just imagine it can't be that hard to act in love with Cassandra James. You know what I'm saying? Like, it can't be that hard because she's beautiful, so charismatic and talented, obviously such a lovely person. So I loved that we just got like a whole episode of them being cute, having this like really beautiful moment, connecting around their identities, the way that disability plays into romance, the way that disclosure works, when you're talking about gender in romance. I thought they had like such beautiful connection, very mature adult conversation, really not like anything else you're seeing in the romances on GH. And I'm glad we got a whole episode of that before it, like the reveal happened around like Chet being being Amy's, I forgot her name, Amy's brother.
Yeah, she said.
Obviously their barrier or whatever.
Yeah, I wrote down Cherry, exclamation point. Chet sparkles with Terry. He looks smitten. It's giving leading man. It's giving power couple. That's what I had written down about Cherry. I really liked it. I like his heart eyes, the way he just like looked at her, the way he was like in conversation with her. Like I was like extremely drawn in, and I loved it. My favorite moment, even though that is probably what my real favorite moment should have been, my favorite moment was Marcellus getting his ass whooped in front of his mama. Like, did you get beat up in front of your mom? Sir, it embarrassing. Embarrassing. Dude called you an idiot in front of your mom. He made fun of you in front of your mom, like mocked you in front of your mom. And if that wasn't enough, because that was enough to really be embarrassing, you thought you were gonna be big about it, touch him, and then he whooped your ass in front of your mom. And then you turned around and told your uncle on him. It was the most pathetic sequence of things I've ever seen. And I cannot believe they did this to Nicholas. Kill him. Where's nowhere else to go from here? This is done. You're done. Once he like gets with Esme, where else can he go? It's done. You gotta go.
For me, it was him yelping like a Beverly Hills Chihuahua. 2 and 3.
2 and 3. Now what?
2 and 3.
Those were actually, yeah, those two scenes were pretty much my faves too. I agree with you guys. I was very impressed with the conversation between Chet and Terry. I thought, like you said, it was a very mature and adult conversation. And which is surprising because I don't know why it's surprising, because I think those two are definitely more with it and together adults than most adults that we see on the television show. But yeah, to see having, that kind of conversation and not be with so much drama was great. And I really appreciated that a lot. Also, yeah. Nicholas getting his butt kicked, that was amazing. And in front of Laura, and just, and Laura not necessarily defending Nicholas because she knows that he was out of pocket. And I wouldn't have really, you're just going to grab Sonny by the shoulder? That's what you're going to do? So that was also amazing. I was not swept at all this week. And so it was very difficult for me to choose favorite scenes, favorite, performances at all. Even though I would say those were the standouts. I guess but there were some. I love seeing TJ and Dante all over this week. I love that, even though their performances wasn't like, oh my God, this made me laugh, or oh my God, this made me cry. I just like seeing them on the screen. So I'm really happy about that. The teens, per usual, they're just carrying the show. I always love seeing Nicholas Chavez and Will, working together. Cam and Spencer, their dynamic is great. Love that. And I know there's a lot of drama on social media around them, but I love actually seeing Carly, Ava, and Nina on screen together, because I think all three actresses are phenomenal. Love seeing them just, you know, doing what they do best. And you know, personally, if it's between like Carly and Ava, I have a hard time who to root for, because they're both, like, I think, you know, powerhouse actresses. They give their all when they're together. They're both funny. They're both, you know, evil. They're both, you know, all of that. And so it's hard for me to choose between Carly and Ava. Now, Carly and Nina, definitely Carly over Nina. But, and it's weird though, because I always, for me, it was Michelle Stratford's Nina that I liked the best. And so whenever I saw Laura Wright and Michelle together, I loved that. Cynthia Watros' portrayal of Nina is different, and it's not as, you know, fun for me. It's actually more like I hate you more than anything, the character. And so it's hard for me to get into that characterization, but I do still love the three of them, and their, you know, and that scene together in the bar was great for me. I loved it. So yeah, but no, they're all kind of equal. I don't know. I wouldn't say any of it was really just like powerhouse sweeps stuff. So yeah, it was just, oh, you know, I felt like this was like a regular week. And which is sad, because there's some stuff that could have really went down, and we're going to talk about this later, but stuff that could have really went down would have made this a sweeps month. And if I compare it to other shows definitely had sweeps, and GH didn't seem to have it. Maybe it had it the week before. Sweeps like the last week in April, when Harmony went through all of her trauma. That was kind of sweeps material. And if that, yeah.
Yeah, I find it to be kind of sad too, because, you know, as I watched this and I watched Days, I like peek in on other soaps. GH has like the best actors for me, like hands down. I don't really see anybody out acting a Maura West or a Laura Wright or Nicholas Chavez. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't see a Tabiana out. Like, people aren't out acting them. And so if they have like really good story to go with like their acting, and like they can deliver the powerhouse stuff when they're given it, but the stuff like the scenes between the powerhouse stuff are like where GH just like lacks. And soaps aren't just about the powerhouse Emmy bait performances. Soaps are about the relationships and all these other things. And so I think that's part of the reason it's hard to like feel sweat, because you're like, where is this going? So what were you gonna say, Sandra?
I mean, I was everything that y'all have said. You know, like April was much better than May. And I don't know how this happened. I felt swept many times in April, but especially that last week. And so I actually had higher hopes once we got over that first week of Wiley's Adults, but it just, there goes my optimism. It was just a lot of Wiley's Adults, and I can't deal with that.
Oh, you don't like Wiley's Adults? We're gonna Wiley's Adults even harder.
That's classic GH, actually. I'm tired of this pattern of abuse.
Tanya, who is your performer of the week?
Well, I also had a couple other favorite scenes. Like, I really, really enjoy seeing John Lindstrom and Avery Pohl together. I mean, those scenes were great. And even though, I mean, didn't get to see a lot of Leo, but I just love Leo and BLQ's relationship. The way, you know, Easton Rocket, sweetheart, just runs up to Amanda and just hugs her. It was like, oh, you're here. Oh, I can't wait to, where's Chase? You know, where's all that? I love seeing him on screen, and I love that dynamic. I just want to, you know, give him a shout out for real. I can't wait to read his, you know, well, I hope we get to hear his poem. Well, I guess we heard his poem already, but I want to see him perform. So yeah, favorite performances, that's hard. So I would just like, they're all on the same equal weight to me. But yeah, definitely John Lindstrom, Avery Pohl, Chris Van Etten and Cassandra James, Laura Wright, Maura West, and Three Watros, just all of them. And the teens, the teens carry it. Yeah, but they're all kind of the same. Nothing really like stand out, but they were all great. And they deserve props.
Yeah. I mean, the acting's never the problem on this show.
No.
Or for mostly everyone, it's not the problem. I loved when it's like I almost want to give it to John Lindstrom alone for when he fell over. Right. It was so good. It was committed, the commitment, but also look at the expression on his face as he was doing it. Love him.
John Lindstrom is so good. He's so good.
And then of course, Nicholas Chavez, both with the William Lipton scenes and his scenes with Avery Pohl.
Yeah.
When he turned the gaslighting back around on her, it's like her being like, you don't trust me, and him being like, you don't trust me. And I'm like, I haven't seen you do this before, but I'm glad you're finally using it for good instead of evil.
And no, not only like you don't trust me, but here's why I don't trust you. Why'd you lie about your the letter? And
talk about your nanny.
Right? What's going on?
You got caught. I got caught snooping, but it's really good. I will say the other person I think really did well this week, it was Katie as Willow.
Yeah,
because we really don't see a whole lot from Willow. Like she's kind of like Michael's support, or she hops in for scenes. We don't really get like powerhouse performances from her because it's not what the script calls for her. But when she's given it, like I've just been really pleased to see her deliver the like the grief, the disbelief, the heartache. All of those things have been extremely believable from her. And so while I'm not a over the top fan of the storyline, I have been like a fan of her work over the past couple of weeks.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, Kitty's been very good the last couple of weeks. And it's a reminder, she had some really great moments during the Shiloh storyline. So it's like she has it in her when the material's there. Unfortunately, all of the material she's given is not always
not there.
Yeah, when she realized that her baby was dead, that was a great scene. The chase, that was awesome. So yeah.
Well, Sandra, what's working for the show?
Well, I really loved a lot of the friendship scenes this week. I thought they were working really well. It's something that we've asked for more of, so I'm glad to see. I think, with the team, I'm looking, oh, all of my friendships that I'm excited about are in the sex tape storyline, so that makes sense because it's like all my faves. But I loved Trina and Joss this week. Oh my god. I love them going to yoga class together and then in the end deciding to go get milkshakes instead. Like, who hasn't done that? I just love their scenes together in general. Like, Tabiana and Eden have amazing chemistry together. Love them. I loved Joss being so messy about Rory. Like, oh, don't mind us, just over here being brilliant, attractive, available, date my friends, and she amazing. And I also just love the energy that Joss keeps for Spencer, which is like, oh, he can be arrested every day and twice on Sunday. Because there's both she knows him really well. I think actually both Joss and Spencer have really good reads on each other. Like what Spencer said about Joss not being able to keep her mouth shut was not wrong. But also what Joss had to say about Spencer was not wrong either. So I loved that. I loved Trina and Ava. Ugh, so good. Like Trina being like, you know, you are my shadiest friend. No offense. And Ava was like, oh, and take it. I'm happy to be like your messy, plotting, scheming mentor. Like, if there's anything that you don't want to dirty your hands with, honey, I got you. I'm your messy auntie. And I love that. And I loved Cameron and Spencer always. I love them calling each other out for how stupid the other one is. I loved their kind of like parallels when there's like those shots of both of them hugging Esme and like Cam's checking his watch and Spencer's like so I love them. I love the comedy that they play. And those relationships, those friendship relationships are really important since like the love triangle stuff's very fraught in a lot of ways. So I think it's important to have, as you know, I'm a big Sprina fan, but like Sprina feels very complicated right now. And I appreciate how much Cam grounds Spencer. That's very much needed in Spencer's character right now. And I appreciate seeing like just the unconditional support that Joss and Ava provide for Trina. So the friendships and the sex tape storyline are working for me.
I had something similar about the friendships. Like so two big things that are working for me. One would be Joss and Trina. I am a fan of both of those characters. And so their friendship, I was like really sad when it looked like they were gonna have like a big falling out. And so to like see them in their dynamics, it just reminds me of some of my like teenage friendships where like one person was a hothead and one person was like the calming one, and that's the dynamic they have. And what Josh said was, oh, you know, Trina, she's just with good looks, intelligence, and charm. Like, if that's not the energy your bestie has for you when your crush is around, then you need a new bestie. Josh was like really like the person who was like hyping her bestie up. And I loved it. And I think that we have seen from Josh sometimes, because of the way the stories are written, that like a lot of Trina's support had been from Cam before. Or like it was Trina supporting Jocelyn. We didn't see enough of Jocelyn supporting Trina. And this story has really shifted that in a really interesting way, considering that Joss is also going through like something tough. And to see her be able to put that to the side and like be there for Trina, I think is really important for their friendship. Even with Cam, she was like, okay, whatever about us. Did you see the look on Trina's face? Did you know you did to our Trina? Like, that's what she was more concerned about. She's like, you're my boyfriend. Yeah. But Trina. and I just like love that energy, because that's like the energy I have for my best friends. And then the other thing I had, so I know everybody doesn't love this, but I really think the crew is working for me. I mean, maybe not for the show, whatever, but
what was it?
Cameron Matheson and Laura Wright's Carly and Drew crew. I like that it's slow. I like that she didn't sleep with him right away when she ran away from Nina and Sunny on the boat, because that's a classic Carly shit. I like that he named, like, I'm not Jason. I actually hated that she brought Jason up to him, but I appreciated him, even though he went and kind of did some Jason type stuff, was like, I'm not Jason for you. Even though it's really messy, I love that he is now part of this like potential like DNA swapping storyline. Like, it was just like the hijinks that I needed to make this like super heavy, messy story just be like, because that's my favorite thing about Carly. I'm just like, oh, Carly, here we go. Here we are with you. I said this to Sandra before. Like, I think about the characters I like. And so like, I'm a Sam fan, and I'll talk about this later because next week is like Sam's birthday or Kelly Monica's birthday week. Like, I'm a Sam fan. So I think about like, who would I actually like go out with? Right. So like, like Sam, she called me. We're getting dressed. We're going to the Savoy. She's like, oh, I invited my friend. I'm be like, which are your friends that you invite? And she's gonna be like, I invited my friend Liz. I'm like, okay, well, so that you can't talk about the kids or that boyfriend because I don't like him either, right? And then me and Liz will have a good time because she is like super funny and shady outside of some of the stuff I don't like about her. Carly is the friend that doesn't come, who just like breezes by the table. We laugh and joke, and then you go along your way. And that's how I feel about Carly. So like, I love Sam. That's the person I'm bringing out and hanging out with. Sam's friends, I'm like, and Carly is one of those friends. I'm like, tell us about your hijinks. Tell us about your mess. I love it. I'm not confiding anything in you, like, but I do want to hear about your mess. I'm gonna call you if I'm a mess. I'm gonna call you if I got drama, and keep it pushing. And so I just really enjoy that about Carly, and I enjoy that dynamic with Drew, because like if we're all out in the town, I want to hear about how Carly's relationship with Drew is going. So those two things are working for me. What about you, Tanya?
I talked a lot about what was working for me and my favorite things that happened this week. Yeah, the teens definitely always working for me. I'm liking the whole, I mean, yeah, Sprina is the end, but I love the scenes with, Rory and Trina and Joss. Loved that Joss was the wing woman and just totally, hyping up Trina. I thought Trina looked gorgeous in her yoga outfit. I loved, Rory noticing that. They were definitely looking at each other and noticing each other and enjoying that kind of early flirtatious thing. I enjoyed that. I liked that for her because right now, I mean, Spencer's drama and causing too much drama, and she doesn't know where he's at. She doesn't know if she can trust him, all of that. So I like that. I like that Rory is part of the mix. Always Ava and Trina together. They are awesome. Yeah, I kind of talked about that a little, all of that already. I'm more ready to talk about what's not working for me. If you guys don't mind going into that transition.
Please tell us.
Woo! I got a list. I know you guys are anticipating this, but man, why? I understand it, but why is TJ asking after Hat Daddy to come back? You could be using that energy for Trina. Yeah. Which goes into my second thing. Why aren't all the adults doing more for Trina? Just like, I can't, why? I mean, yes, I'm happy that, Spencer does not trust Esme and is trying to figure things out, but there's so many adults that could be doing so much more, and it sucks that they aren't. Do not like that. That's not working for me. Spencer going off on Britt. For me, that was just, she's literally the only other adult outside of your grandma that loves you unconditionally. And for Spencer to turn on her the way he did, I don't care if he's trying to prevent her from investigating Esme. That's not how you do it. There's so many other ways you could have done that. Did not like that at all. Finn's attitude, Chelsea's takedown of Finn was on point and perfect. She was saying that, she may have been, kind of mediated by, using that term incorrectly, but I like that, mediated by Franco. Franco may have embodied her, but I don't think Franco is the malevolent spirit. I think it's Finn. I think she's feeling residue of Finn in that house, and that's the negative influence that Liz needs to get away from. It's either that or Liz's altar, but I believe it's Finn and his attitude, and he needs to go for real, because that's I do not like his attitude. Also, Nina, I kind of feel like I missed this, but Ava and Nina, I felt like there was some tension like between Ava and Nina about the kidnapping. Like there's still some unresolved feelings there. And they may have had this, come to Jesus moment and I missed it. Maybe I need to do a deep dive because I still feel like they need to have that conversation. Like Nina's like, I was a different person and I've changed. And Ava's like, yeah, you've changed. But I kind of feel like she still hasn't really told her how traumatic and how horrible what Nina did to her was, and how they have some sort of uneven truth there, and it's just weird. And I feel like that needs to come out. And I don't like the fact that they glossed over it. I felt, and also I love that Michael's going bad. I don't think ruining Sonny is the way to go. I think he could just cut himself off of Sonny and leave it at that. But why? He seems like he's taking it to a level that Willow wished that he wouldn't do, but he seems like he's going to do anyway. On the one hand, it could be the reason why Willow and Michael breaks up. So I don't know. But yeah, still Michael's like really revenge plot is not necessarily working for me. That's my list.
I would like to dive into your list, to be honest.
Yes.
Let's go. So, first of all, shout out to Chelsea the Medium. Her name's Jen Ray. And what I really appreciate is that she's like a GH fan. And like she talked about watching with her mom. So like having fans of the show like come on the show was just like really, really special. And I thought it was sweet. So shout out to Jen Ray, aka Chelsea the Medium. And I just want to go through some of the stuff that you talked about. Spencer, I'm glad you brought it up. Okay. I feel like there's this like online conversation about Spencer that I have a hard time with as like a Spencer apologist, like head Spencer apologist, like hashtag Avery like the bear, like all of the things. I can apologize, and I've always said this, apologize for about everything Spencer's done except for when it comes to Trina. And I think that what he's doing now actually just like illustrates his selfishness. He wants to be Trina's hero as much as he wants to exonerate Trina. And that doesn't work for me. If that wasn't the case, you would actually, because what I was hoping was that we would see Sabrina taking down Esme together, or that he would like ask an adult. I think that, and I know Sandra, you'll talk about this in the upcoming spoilers, but I think that we have some Sam and Spencer stuff coming up. But he needs an adult in the story. The fact that he hasn't tapped Ava, the fact that he's like ruining Joss and Cam's relationship in the wake of his foolishness, the fact that he is like hurting Trina along like even more in the process. He has a lot to answer for. And I'm like super invested in Sabrina. I know that when you like invest in a character and invest in a relationship, it's really hard to like see somebody like Rory come in and be like a really good option. And I really appreciated during our Twitter spaces, and I posted it. So if anybody wants to see it, it's like on our like audio podcast stuff. Tabiana and I were both like, we were Twilight fans, and we talked about like the love triangle in that way. That like people are like, oh, Rory is like a stalker, or he's this, or he's that. And I'm like, he could just be a good guy who's an obstacle for Sabrina that sticks around, because I don't want to make like a man of color disposable on the behest of Spencer Cassadine. Spencer Cassadine will be fine. He's a legacy character. Nicholas Chavez gets like performer of the week across the board every week. Like, he's fine. Like, he is absolutely fine. Spencer's absolutely fine. And I want the story to play out in a really good way for them. And not like, because I've been invested in Sabrina, like skip over the steps to like rectify the things that he's done. He's been a mess, and he's leaving a lot of destruction in his wake. And I think that, you know, the end result is going to be Trina being like, thank you, but why the hell did you do all this? If the end result is thank you, because like to your point, Tanya, there's all this kind of like, well, Spencer's the only one who's doing anything. That's not writing. I can't like give Spencer cookies because everybody else is failing. And the reality is, if you brought in other people, then the story will be over because Esme's plot was stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Like Esme with the burner phone should not be able to take down Spinelli, who the FBI has tracked as a hacker. Like all these rich people should not be allowing like the Cassadine heir to be in a relationship with somebody who like hasn't been vetted and background checked. Like it's just like, so there's a plot and storyline failure that's not like Spencer's like redemption for me.
Right. And I think what's hurtful about this is with the Britt and Spencer thing is that Britt would have been down to one, keep the secret, two, do all the shenanigans that he's undergoing for
Absolutely.
him. Because she participated in his plots when he was a little kid. So she may have, as the chief of staff, she may have said, hey, this is serious. This pill thing, where'd you get it? What's going on? And he may have been freaked out about that, but he should have trusted her because she has been by his side ever since he was a little boy. And so for him to turn on her in that way, just seemed kind of out of character and just really foolish to me. Yeah.
In character, but foolish.
Okay, maybe in character, definitely in character, I guess, but still, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, what I really wanted out of that interaction, because it's like, honey, you could have just looked at that up on pill identifier. I was really hoping that he would like ask her to look into Esme's records, because if they looked in the pharmacy records, they would find that she had had a prescription written by Kevin, which obviously wouldn't have happened. Like, this was actually like a piece of evidence that could have been found, and instead it was this. So I was like, there was both as a Spencer fan, the relationship between Spencer and Britt is actually super important.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't like that aspect of it. Like whatever Britt's done or hasn't done, because there were also people being like, well, Britt's done this or Britt's done that. Please, I know everything that Britt's done, and I've loved about half of it, if I'm going to be totally honest. And everyone on the show has done crazy ass shit. Like, what does that have to do with Britt and Spencer's relationship? And that's part of the thing, part of their bond is that their relationship is kind of a safe haven from judgment.
Mm-hmm.
And so for him to be so cruel and judgmental to her was actually like a violation of their relationship. And I, regardless of how I feel about Britt, I want Spencer to have good relationships with people who support him unconditionally.
Mm-hmm.
And he's one of those people. I don't want him to be isolated. He's already super, super isolated, and his behavior right now is further isolating him. And I don't like that.
Thank you for articulating that, because that's exactly how I felt. Because I was just like, she's one of the few people that has his back, and for him to damage that relationship is really hard. And I'm hoping that she, as the adult in the relationship, can realize that and not take it too hard. I mean, he definitely deserves to be like iced out for a whole minute, but I'm hoping that maybe she will actually take that clue that he did give her. I think he did say it was Esme's, right? So maybe she will go in and look into finding out where that prescription pill came from. But I don't know, with the writing as it's going, they probably won't, which is super, I hate this show. But anyway, go back on the list, Tracy. I want to know what else you're thinking.
No, I mean, I just also want to say like the isolation piece is like what opened up Spencer to Esme in the first place.
Right.
So, I think it's like really important for me. I have something in my hot takes, but I'll just like name it now. I think it's also like really important for me, and I try not to be like a snob about how long I've watched the show. You know, but when people come at me about Spencer, I'm like, I've been a fan of this kid since he was born.
Yes.
Okay. The one time that I felt like Carly went too far, because I typically love all the mess Carly ever does. I'm like, well, I loved it. The show we born without it. The one time I was like, "Ooh, girl," was when she was keeping baby John, aka Spencer, away from Nicholas. So I've been with Spencer. I've raised this child so much. You know what I'm saying? Like, I raised him. I was crying along with the real Nicholas when Spencer got burnt. I loved it when he was the Phantom of the Opera at the nurse's ball. Like, I've watched this kid the whole time. One, I think the most endearing things about Sonny, for example, had always been his relationship with Spencer. I remember telling you when Spencer first came back, you were like, yes, can't wait for these relationships scenes with Sonny, and it's just been a disappointment the whole time.
Yeah, totally.
Oof. Tell us, okay, can you repeat your list again? So we said the Spencer thing.
Oh, I did. And I don't know if I skipped it, but Valentine caping for Nina. PJ asking for Hat Daddy to come back. Ava not necessarily resolving the kidnapping with Nina. Mm-hmm. Michael going all hard and damaging, like wanting to go off and damage Sonny. And then Finn's attitude, he being the malevolent ghost of the house.
Okay. Just really quick, Michael, what the fuck is wrong with you? I actually have been like, I will defend Michael because I hate Sonny. And then I saw it, I was like, Michael, what are you talking about? This is stupid. I don't even care.
I was embarrassed. And I didn't have any reason to be embarrassed because I have no associations with Michael, and yet I still got so much secondhand embarrassment from watching those scenes. I was like, you sound stupid.
And it's just a jump for no reason. It's one thing to cut him off. It's one thing, but I'm gonna take you down for what? What was the point? And it could also, I mean, this is a writing issue, right? Because this is the other part of, I think, GH. We talk about the writing, but it's also the storytelling part of the writing. But I'm just like, do y'all ever storyboard? Do you ever go back and think about what your characters have done in the past? Because if they connected with Michael, to your point about Ava and Nina, which we'll get to, but okay, Michael, bring up everything that he's done. So if you really would have had a chance to see the build up with Michael, to say, I got shot in the fucking head because of this dude. I was in a coma and I lost time in my life because of this dude. I went to prison because of him. There are people who maybe have just tapped into the show who don't actually know the history. And Michael's not even playing the history, right? I forgave this man for shooting my father. If you named all that and was and this is the last straw, you still would sound stupid, but you wouldn't sound as stupid. Because this is just you mad because he cheated on your mama? Just stop talking to him.
Right. I think Michael has every reason to hate Sonny, but the whole, I'm going to take him down, I'm going to ruin, I'm going to uplift and all of that. And then just the way Dante was reacting to that, I was like, you're going to push Dante over to Sonny's side. He's not even want to talk to you the way you're acting. And, hi, Dante.
Dante, I just wanted to be like, honey, I understand what you're trying to do as a fellow eldest child, but I'm gonna tell you right now, just stay out of it. Go to therapy, work on your boundaries, and focus on pleasuring Sam. Because this is
Dom did say.
He said what?
Dom said in that Soap Opera Digest interview, they were like, when Dante's off screen, what do you think he's doing? He's making sweet, sweet love to Sam. And I was like, that's right.
That's right. It's canon.
It's canon. Our captain of the Dante ship, Dom, said when he's not on screen, he blowing Sam's back out. And I really appreciate that.
I don't appreciate that, but I like it. I don't know. I like the energy.
I'm sorry, I am a multi-shipper, Tante and Tante, but they're not giving me the Tante content I need.
I like
Um,
that he's committed, like he's committed to Sam. That's very romantic.
yeah, I love Dante and Sam. They just like come in, put some drive by Kim. They need a story, but I'm also nervous for whatever story they give them. So I'm just like, but anyway, back to what you're saying. Dante just like, not Dante, but Michael just like looks ridiculous. And actually, it would make so much more sense if Dante and Sonny had like more conflict. He's a cop, like, and we just get none of that. And what we get is like man pain and anger from Michael. Nobody will see that shit. It's so stupid. Just like I don't want to see Finn.
No.
That's all you guys have to know.
There's nothing else to say to that. I mean, I think he's that spirit. Chelsea needs to exorcise him from the house.
And I actually defended Michael Easton on this show because I didn't like the way people were coming at him. There were people who like didn't want him paired with Liz because they were like whatever, and I was like, look, Michael Easton's a vet, give him respect. So it's not about Michael Easton, it's about Finn.
The writing is awful.
It's bad. And if the point is not that he's supposed to be bad, I really have real concerns for the writers' room. His like, even him and Laura like coming in the middle of like the meeting, I'm like, what was the point? Who cares? Like, she's let her do her thing. Why y'all popping in? I wasted money on my medium. Like, because y'all came in and interrupted the spirit.
Right.
Let Liz talk to her ghost ex-husband. He was gonna give some vital information.
Oh yeah, he probably would have said, actually, you're doing this to yourself, but I'm here for you. You know?
And he's a vampire.
And he's a vampire.
Sandra's got me very obsessed with Port Charles, like the little spinoff. So now, every time I see Finn, I'm just like,
there's a clip that I have been getting good use of this week, where someone says, "And he's a vampire."
Yeah, I mean, he's emotionally draining her of her life sustenance.
He's draining me.
What? Okay, y'all.
He's draining me.
So my list of things, and this goes to your list of things, Tanya, what I have on my list of things not working is Nina. I've talked about it many times, and I will talk about it again because I can. So there was a Twitter Spaces that our friend of the show, Jen M, put on that was like, the title of it was like, I'm an OG Carly hater and I also hate Nina, or like, also I don't like Nina, or something like that. And I thought that was really important because people keep framing that the people who don't like Nina are like Carson fans. And I want to say none of us are Carson fans, right? Like, Tanya, were you a Carson fan?
I am, but then I'm not like, I don't know. I don't necessarily stand anybody. I enjoy characters.
Right.
You know, I don't spend a lot of time defending or not defending because I enjoy the story. I enjoy being in it. And it's like, that's it, you know? So I was okay with Carson as a couple when they wwere good. I didn't like them when they were bad. So there you go.
Makes sense. And so it's so important, I think, to just to say that this character isn't working for a lot of the reasons that we've said like before, and a lot of the other writing problems that we pointed out before. And so one of the things that they do with Nina, and that like I've heard both Mo, Maurice Bernard, and Cynthia talk about Nina, like, oh, Nina's not a monster. And so I think that what happens is they play up this like emotional whatever to like show you that she's not a monster, but what it actually looks like is that she's manipulative. And so Nina fans are like, well, there's nothing that Nina could do that will be right for y'all. I don't actually think she's a monster. I just think she's a Karen. Like that, like, you know what I'm saying? Like you was talking big and bad to Ava, like, and when I said Carly better hope she doesn't get in my way, And then when Carly walks in, you start crying. Did you not
Right.
want her to get wet? Like, what was the point? Like, what did you mean that she shouldn't get in your way?
Or she's like, Carly, can we just get along? And
I'm
all
gonna
this,
whisper to you.
you know, but yeah, behind her back, she's all, Carly's a bitch, Carly's this, Carly's that. I'm just like,
Just
come with
like,
that same energy when I'm in your face.
okay, yin yang twin Nina, stop whispering. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. Every time she's on, it's just like you literally at Nell's grave whispering and crying. What?
If only Carly hadn't pushed you off that cliff. Girl, I'm tired of it.
But somebody on Twitter posted the scene when Nell read Nina for filth.
Sure did.
That was so good. I wish Nell was still alive.
Yeah.
When she finds out. Like,
shout out to Barry. That's who posted that clip. I have forgotten all about it, but it is that they have refused to put Nina through like any kind of redemption arc. That like Sona kind of flopped because of it. And they like haven't made her a real foil. So I think there were like people who were like Carly haters or Carly neutral who were like ready to like bring in and like really enjoy another foil to Carly. That's people love Ava. I love Ava, right? Like that's the energy that people like. And that has not been anything of what they've allowed to happen. They haven't even really allowed Carly to be petty to Nina. Where was like, I mean, when we had Nixon Falls, like we were like, okay, the fallout should be massive and amazing, and it hasn't been. Where is the eviction notice on the Crimson office? And like Nina showing up and Carly got her shit packed up and like delivering it to Sunny's front door.
Mm-hmm.
Like, where is just like the petty, like actual rivalry? Where is Nina actually having some fire that isn't her like running and crying when Carly comes around? That like I think is a part of the reason the character doesn't work. To your point about Ava, I'm imagining that the lack of that being resolved means it's going to come out at the hearing. That's like my assumption. But even with Joss and Carly's, they're like talking about how bad Nina is. It kind of falls flat, y'all, because she did that shit. Y'all let her around Joss. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, who cares now? When Nina was with Jax, she was bonding with Joss. This is after she induced Ava's labor. So it's just like they don't know what to do with Nina. They keep trying to like make it so she's not a monster, so they don't allow her to stand up for herself. But that ends up making the character even more annoying. That then she has to be propped by like Valentine and Felicia. The problem is that Valentine and Felicia have actually had redemption arcs.
Mm-hmm.
Felicia got cussed out at Georgie's funeral by Maxie. She had to sit there and take it.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like Valentine, I saw somebody like say like, why are people okay with Valentine and not with Nina? Well, one, because I like Valentine, so that's one. But the other thing is that Valentine actually like lost everything, hit rock bottom, lost his name, almost lost custody of his daughter, publicly humiliated, like the Bailey thing, and we've seen him like make amends and build himself back up. Being around Anna, like trying to help take down Peter, all of that was part of his arc. Nobody ever tried to make me pretend that like nobody was really pretending that what Valentine did to Nina was romantic in the ways that they're trying to pretend like Nixon Falls was romantic. They should be trying to forget that happened, and instead they keep tripling down and bringing it up. Let's have a dance together. Save me a dance. It's crazy, y'all. It's crazy. You isolated this man from his family. It was crazy. Let's move on. Be together in Port Charles, whatever you're gonna do, but this is crazy. And nobody likes it. Well, maybe people like it. I don't like it.
I also don't like the fact that we don't get to see the article. I mean, not one person read the article for us. They just talked about it. I need to be able to see that article because I want to read it.
I want all 5 parts.
Mm-hmm.
I want all 5 parts. I did look. I'm trying to see. I did. Somebody, Amy, did Crimson Rum. Did like screenshot it, and I've been trying to like read it. Like, I've been trying to like make it bigger. And though David is a friend of the show, now Smoltz is not a great writer. It was very matter of sorry, Smoltz.
Does he have like the date in the timeline? Even that can be effective.
It's just in regards to the minor child, how a loophole in the legal system puts parents at a disadvantage. Next. Like, I'm not reading that. Why would I read the article that says that?
Like, the title is...
That's the title of the article. Who cares?
It would have been like, 5 reasons why Nina is not a good grandmother or mother or should not be Wiley's grandmother. Part 1.
Yeah, it's like, they do have a part. The man, Sonny Corinthos, is Michael's father and Wiley's grandfather, who was thought dead for 9 months. 9 months. Meanwhile, Nina would frequently visit Wiley with Michael and Willow's gracious permission. At no point in these visits did Nina tell Michael his father was alive. Sonny would eventually regain his memories and return of his own volition. That's one of the things that I had to struggle to read in the article. There is a very nice picture of Nina in the article, though. Like, she doesn't look crazy. She's like posing like a
She have a
picture.
great outfit on.
You know she got a bomb outfit on, but you can't see it.
Right.
Her outfits again were great this week.
Yeah.
When does Nina not have a bomb outfit?
Yeah.
She also has great chemistry with Carly, which I already talked about that.
Yeah. I think the number one gnarly shipper, Cynthia Watros. She was like, keep me in these scenes with Laura.
Right.
I agree.
That's where like the softness came from. It was actually longing. That's why her eyes kept watering.
I'm just so happy to be in this scene with you.
Carly, can't you see? We want the same things. Peace of you.
And I was like, I don't want peace. I want problems only.
Yeah, I put in mine. She's like, we want the same thing, peace. And I'm like, Carly's like, no, violence.
I watched the episode like earlier on the Discord stream, and then I watched it at like when it aired in the afternoon with Tracy. And when Nina said that we both want peace thing, I looked at Tracy and just waited for her to say,
I don't want peace. I want problems always.
That's right.
That was it. I didn't want it. Well, Sandra, what else is not working for you? We've gone through, I think we've deep dived Tanya's list, and I've said mine.
Yeah, all of that was bad. Everything that you all talked about. Just the crying with Nina is a lot. I just want to add on. Like when she started tearing up talking to Carly in front of Phyllis, I was like, bitch, get out of here. I'm how I'm acting right now, which is like tired and uninterested, was the vibe for all of her scenes this week. I just need a moment. Get out of here. I'm tired. It's triggering. And then like the running up on Willow, like hasn't Harmony died in the last like 24 hours on the show? Like you're sitting here trying to beef with the mother of your grandson after her mother has died. And then you're going to cry and expect people to feel sorry for you. Cool. And whenever she was like, I'm going to blah, blah, Willow, I'm taking her out. And Ava was like, did her mother die?
When Ava Jerome, like,
when Ava is like, might be a little morally questionable. You got to stop what you're doing immediately. Like if Ava's like,
I wouldn't do that if I were you.
be taking it too far, you need to assess your life choices. You need to stop everything you're doing and be like, oh my God, what have I done? So there's all that. I will say the other thing that's really not working for me is well, of course, Nina like trying to take Anna's life, like talking to Valentine, talking to Felicia,
Right.
when they could be talking to Anna.
Hated it all.
I hate that. I'm not even I don't even have the bandwidth to talk about how much I hate that. Just know that I fucking hate it. And finally, why are we now? Okay. I hate the ELQ story. I always hate the ELQ stories.
Hate it. Especially
when they don't involve Tracy. You know, like there are no real Quartermains left to have ELQ stories about, so why bother? And I also hate Wiley's adults. And I thought, gosh, there's really nothing else they could do to make me hate either of these stories more. But now it appears that they are combining them. And so I've been proven wrong. They have found a way for me to hate both of these stories more, which is to overlap them. So that's really not working for me. I just can't imagine. I mean, Drew did tell Sonny, stay out of it. He was like, I don't need you in this. When has Sonny ever listened to anything anyone said? But like, we complain so much, and by we, I don't mean me. I mean the collective we. There's so much complaint about Carly being in every story, but like Sonny is in every freaking story, and now he's going to be in this ELQ story too? Why? What is happening here? I guess it's going to have something to do with like Michael trying to take Sonny down, which I also don't give a fuck about. It's just taking two awful stories and making it awfuler. The only person, and then when Ned was like, ELQ needs to be around for Leo when he grows up. Leo's too smart to work at ELQ. Leo's not gonna be working at ELQ. Leo's gonna be like a marine biologist or something. Like Leo's gonna be out here saving the planet. He is gonna be taking down ELQ. Corporate activism.
Yes, because ELQ is polluting the ocean in some way, shape, or form.
Oh, sure. And of course, Michael has like done some like green technology thing, but we know that that's actually just bullshit. Offset your carbon footprint. What? So you're gonna like annihilate a rainforest and then plant a couple trees?
That's like ELQ is like Chevron.
Yes.
With their green gas or whatever, and then just destroying Richmond.
ELQ is also what gave us the liaison baby. So yeah.
Oh yeah, those ELQ condoms, EL quandoms.
But I think that what you like are speaking to, Sandra, is like part of what I was saying is like the problem with there's a writing problem with like the day-to-day writing, but there's also an overall like storytelling problem. Mm-hmm. That are things that like it is so clear, like how I was like shouting out the medium actually being a fan of the show. They need some writers who are actually fans of the show in the fucking writer's room, because there are like points in dialogue that like people can say this would strengthen it, this would make it better, this would connect this to things that have already happened. So even when Sonny, for example, was like, I don't want Michael to go up against Valentine, he could have easily dropped in because Valentine tried to do this thing to my nephew Spencer. Like there's just never any connection unless it's story driven, and that actually is just like bad storytelling. Like nobody cares about Wiley's adults or ELQ. So what storyteller decided that was like a good story to combine to continue telling? And so sometimes like I can see where people are trying to go with plots, and I'm like, oh yeah, I don't really appreciate how you got there, but I see where you're going. And I see where they're going, and none of it is good. And I don't understand it. We were just watching General Hospital Night Shift on Discord yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And I forgot how diverse the show was. I was like, oh shit, we had Lainey, we had so many like people of color on. Like they had Billy D. Williams on the show. I was like, I forgot about this. And then I watched Star Wars for a full Billy D day. But like there was just like this is actually like an interesting story to tell. Like Robin wanted to like adopt a baby and like from a woman who's HIV positive, and like it was just like interesting stories being told. And it was being told very close. I mean, some of it was, but it was like a cultural thing. Like there was like a Black nursing student who talked about what it was like to like carry being Black on her back, and Billy D. Williams was talking about the civil rights movement. Like it was just, I was just like, damn, why has GH regressed? And I was like, oh yeah, different writers, different whatever. But the storytelling is just bad. There's like, I don't see, there's no fan base that's happy. Nobody is happy with the stories for their fave. And there's no like, what are we actually looking forward to except for moving on? You know what I'm saying? Like we're like, we want this to resolve so that you can start the next thing. Not we want to see how this resolves. And that's a really big problem. And it makes me concerned for the future of the show.
Yep. I mean, it's also part of the problem with like the concept of diversity. It's like you can have like diversity in front of the screen, you can have it behind the screen too, but if there aren't like structures in place to and like processes in place to like center the history of the show, to make sure that we're retaining writers of color, retaining actors of color, retaining all the different artists and crew members and everything that like also feed in. Diversity is like, that's why diversity often is diversity and inclusion, when we're just focusing on those two things, become flash in the pan moments. Because like how many moments can we actually look back on in GH history and go like, wow, that was really big, and that's actually not what's happening on the show anymore. And you actually, if you just started watching the show now, would have no idea about the wards and how important they were, for example, or about the Asian Quarter storylines, for example, right? So there's so much richness, but when we don't put the processes, the culture in place to continue to work off of that, then it kind of just disappears.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was just looking on, there's like the General Hospitals account. If you're on Twitter, you should follow it because it always gives you like this day in, and like it's like a really fun memory lane. And so they just did one, and it was like today was like, 90 something, I forget, was like the last day that Keisha was on. And I was like, there's no trace of Keisha on the canvas anymore. It's like, it is really cool to have like Curtis's family and the Ashfords being built, and to like have Trina and Taggart and Portia. But there's also like, that's when you lose like the legacy families. And I think that part of what makes, I think, Days of Our Lives so interesting is that they bring people back. People will have been gone for a long time, and they're like, oh yeah, but this family is still very relevant. Why don't you come back? Or they'll give people like, they gave Julie, like, they're like, listen, here's your Black grandchild, have fun. You know what I mean? Like, it was just, there is like something being done that like retains like the history of the show. I'm sure that people who are like, who watch Days as deeply as we watch GH can push back on a lot of that, but as somebody who watched it years and years ago and who's like dropped back in for the last like 6 months, I certainly have complaints, but I am also like, oh yeah, I see the consistency from like the 90s to now. or like the late 80s. I'm dating myself now. Like the 80s until now. And GH, you know, outside of, I love having Robert, Anna, Felicia, and Mac on, but outside of that, you know, and Jeannie, there's like the people, but there's not the continuity of family and stories.
Mm-hmm.
You're muted, Tanya.
I was gonna ask Sandra if there's something about the sweeps that she wished would have happened versus what we got.
Oh yeah. It's like what I ordered versus what I got.
Yeah, I mean, I wish that the teens had been the focus of sweeps. I know that there's, of course, they'll be in more, not so much next week, but the week after. And I'm sure there will be some sort of reveal in their story, but like I wanted Trina's trial to happen, or them not go to trial and this be wrapped up more or less by the end of sweeps. I was really looking forward to that so that we could progress onto a summer storyline that wasn't so traumatic, to be honest, and to like move the love triangle forward and to get a little break from Esme. You know, I understand Avery's going to be on the show for a while. I love Avery as an actor. Esme is a terrible character, but I've accepted she's going to be around, but I was hoping for like a little like, oh, she's going to go to Shady Brook or Ferncliff or whatever for a while, and then we'll see her pop up later. So that's what I was wanting. I mean, of course I wanted more Ice Princess, but I knew between JPS's schedule and Charles Shaughnessy is just coming back, I think like next week, possibly this week, that like I knew that storyline's not moving right now, but I was hoping to get the teens wrapped up so they can move on to their next story. I was hoping to see a little bit of movement with the Ice Princess. I was hoping to see a hell of a lot more of Anna. My God. I understand that not every sweeps can be as Anna filled as February, like mostly because it wouldn't be fair to Finola. Like, that's a lot of work. Like, I'm sure after filming February sweeps, she was probably like, I need a break. Y'all can't do this to me every sweeps. But having like, for me, February sweeps was so good. It was one of my favorite sweeps we've had in a long time. Not just because Peter died, which I won't lie, that was a big part of it. But it was also because it was about like, not just Anna, but like women in general saving themselves and each other. Like men were there to be the backup, but like women were the reason why like all this shit went down. Even Maxie, we got to see her be smart and be kind of badass again. Like, got to see Felicia kill Peter. We had to see Anna like wrestle with her choices and like see her really be the focus. So for this sweeps to be like so much about like man pain and like men yelling at women, really isn't like Finn yelling at Lucy, Finn yelling at the medium, Finn talking over Liz all the time and doing all this weird shit. Honestly, Spencer like yelling at Britt, that really didn't work for me. Seeing Spencer be rude to people unnecessarily is not working for me. And I love rude ass Spencer. I don't want to hear anything from anyone about whether or not I love rude Spencer, because I do, but like in this context, it's not working.
Yeah, Spencer being rude to Rory, that's hilarious.
That's
Spencer being in jail and acting all entitled, hilarious. Britt, no.
No, that did not work for me. So
I think it's like when you have rude Spencer that's like rooted in his upbringing, that like when Spencer does something that reminds you that he's not Cam, that he's not a townie like that is funny. So like having him be able to like track down Cartullo's shoes and be like, this doesn't seem right. That's funny because you remember, oh yeah, this is a rich kid. Like not just like heiress rich like Jocelyn, but like royalty rich.
Right.
Like that's funny. Or like when he gets like snobby with Cam and Cam's able to punch back. That's funny. To go at Britt and like really like hit at her insecurities is not what we like about Spencer. That's not the rudeness or the whatever. Like because like when he went at Valentine, who I love, he's like, at least I know who my father is. I loved that.
Yeah.
That whole Cassadine Thanksgiving where he like was going back and forth with like Nicholas and with Valentine. Those things are really funny. But when he is just like unnecessarily, like that's actually not who he is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He's a snob, but he's not cruel. Unless you do something to provoke him. And so to like see him be that way to Britt I didn't like that either. Especially like you name Sandra amongst all this other shit with these men.
Mm-hmm.
And if I have to hear Sonny say, well, Carly wanted the divorce one more time.
Divorce.
Oh.
The divorce. I'm going to lose it.
Oh my goodness.
It's like, remember when Carly was talking to like inanimate objects about Jason, like talking in the vending machine, talking in the ornament, talking to anyone who would listen about Jason? This is Sonny talking about how Carly wanted the divorce. He says Carly wanted the divorce, and then there's like whatever rambling that happens before and after that, and it's like just like the same conversation over and over again. But you know why Carly wanted the divorce, Sonny.
It's always Carly wanted the divorce. Never Carly wanted the divorce because I banged somebody else on our romantic boat.
Because she was 5 minutes late.
And you know what? I loved it. Sandra can attest. I loved it. I loved the thing about me with my characters who are a mess, I like to have them humbled. That's like the balance.
Yeah.
So when Carly was walking in and she was like, I loved it.
That was good.
Sandra was so uncomfortable.
I was very uncomfortable. I was very embarrassed. I felt very embarrassed for Carly.
I was delighted.
I mean, it was bad, but it was like drama. But it was, it was good drama, but still the fact
I was delighted.
He's all like it never happened. Like he never slept with Nina. Like he never did anything wrong.
Or like that's just like an easily forgivable thing. Like, what do you mean? You walked in on me. He was kind of like, it ain't the first time.
Right. Somebody did a montage of all the times Carly walked in on him with another woman.
Every different Carly has done it. It's like a rite of passage. You know what I mean? 4 Carlys each. And it's always disrespectful. It was like Carly's divorce lawyer, Carly, or like the Fed.
Right.
It's just always disrespectful. So yeah, Sonny be killing me with that. He's flailing. They need to give him something to do, and it's not ELQ.
Well, Mo keeps threatening to retire.
Well, they need to give him a storyline that I enjoy too. I know that he's saying that this is the best work of his career. Okay.
He should think like higher. He should think more highly of himself.
I don't like it.
I was thinking about, I agree with all the things you said, Sandra, about, the investigation and Trina being exonerated. I was hoping that would be done as well. Finn being a bully versus a reveal. Like we talked about last week, that it could be like Liz's situation doesn't have to be resolved during May sweeps, but it would have been nice for us to be able to see. If it's going to be a DID, then let us see one of her alters. Liz doesn't have to know that she has an alter, but we could see the alter. The audience can know, and she doesn't have any idea. I mean, that would have been great. But we've been so focused on Finn being an asshole. That's why I'm thinking his asshole character is actually the one that's doing it, because it's been so focused on him being an asshole. Then what else is there? And the other thing that I had that I wanted to talk about was the whole Nina Willow reveal. I kind of wish that Willow knows. Like, she doesn't have to do anything about it, but I wish that she knew. I actually want, for some reason, and I know it's probably out of character, but I want Carly to be in the moral right here. I want Carly to know and not like it, but I wanted her to just at least tell Willow so it's out of her hands, and so that Nina doesn't have the excuse of, you kept my child from me anymore. That's what I want for Carly, because I want her to always have the moral high ground against Nina, because I just don't like Nina right now. But unfortunately, Carly's messy, and so that's great. So there's that. But at the same time, I still would have preferred that Willow know. And that way we can just, move on. Let Willow decide what to do with that information. So that's what I really would have liked to have happen. Because still, it's not necessarily a big deal it is a big deal that Carly knows, but it would have been even better, more sweeps worthy if Willow knew, and then Willow decided on her own to keep the secret, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be Carly and Drew, because Drew is like, sure, do the test, but I think Drew is like, that's her mama. And so, like, even when he kind of stepped in when they were like slandering Nell, and he was like, that's probably her mama, you know, I'd be like looking at Carly. Something that's interesting, I wonder if they're gonna do that, because that's exactly what they did with Sam and Alexis, where Sam knew for a long time and was like really weird around Alexis. I don't know if they want to draw those comparisons, because you can't compare when you can't compete, and this is just not it. And I don't remember who it was, but I saw somebody on social media say, Nina been looking for her kid since the Obama administration. We're tired. No one cares. No one cares. This is the most lackluster reveal. It doesn't change, like, and I keep comparing it to Sam and Alexis, but you know, like, that reveal like made Sam a Cassadine and like gave her like family and brought other women into her life. What exactly is the point of this reveal? What does it do?
Yeah, another thing I would have liked is kind of more of a reveal around Esme and her parents. And I also wonder if they're really trying to make, and maybe I missed it. It seems that people seem to feel that Felicia is definitely her mom. I mean, I know Ryan kept saying, oh, you remind me of your mother. And then in his head, he was having flashbacks to Felicia, but I wasn't quite sure if he actually made that statement. No. And so I don't know if Felicia is going to be her mom. I think it would be interesting, but I'm still not sure that's where they're going to go. They haven't really explicitly said that, but.
So you're right. They did not explicitly say that.
Yeah.
I refuse to actually even like speculate on that until they explicitly say that, in part because like it's like we already did this with Faison and Anna. We don't need to do this again. That was an awful idea. Let's stop having like women have the secret children of their abusers. Let's just not do that. There's no need to. You would have to change so much history for that to be true. And before even diving into why that would be awful, like what he said all those things about Esme's mother. Like, I had to really watched my back with her. You never knew. Like, she was unpredictable. She was a survivor, which are all things that are true about Felicia. And then separate from that, he flashed back about Felicia to because he was talking about people he wanted to get revenge on.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm choosing to believe that is where Felicia came in, and that this is just like a red herring. Like,
right.
It's gonna be a different woman that probably we do know, but like Ryan also has plenty of enemies, so it could really be anyone. But I really, please God, no. We do not want.
I really hope it's a misdirect.
Yes, that's what I'm choosing to believe. Perhaps I am wrong, but I just
Esme's Nina's daughter.
More. That's fine.
That is fine.
But yeah, I think we will leave sweeps knowing more about Esme. But that's not, to me, that reveal could have happened at any point. Like, knowing more about Esme's parents is actually like not a sweeps moment for me.
No, but I wish we would have known by now.
Right, absolutely. I'm 100% agree with you on that.
Right.
Yeah. I'm just saying that we probably will find out more about them, and it's
it might be like a Star Wars reveal where if those of you who aren't in the know, Rey's parentage was talked about a lot in the last series of Star Wars, and everyone was thinking it was Luke, and it wasn't Luke. It was her parents were some randoms who just, were trying to hide her from her grandfather, who was important. So maybe it's the same, like Esme's grandfather or some cousin is interesting. But something that keeps her, I think it's going to be somebody that keeps her in the landscape in Port Charles. And so she has connection to other people outside of Spencer and the Cassadines. But it doesn't have to be Felicia. It could be just some random cousin of Felicia's. I don't know.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be somebody who tries to redeem her, because they're playing up like the tears when she reads the nanny thing, all of that. Let me just take it back to Star Wars for a second. I was super disappointed with that whole, I thought we were going to have a Black Jedi. We didn't. I thought after the second movie in the trilogy, the point was that you didn't actually have to have a lineage to a Jedi to have the Force, that anybody could have the Force. I was like really excited for that to be the thing. And then it turned out that wasn't the thing. I just wanted to like insert that because I'm glad you brought it up.
Very similar. Right.
Are there any other hot takes before we get into previews?
Hot takes. Yeah, that was my hot take, is why are people assuming that Felicia is Esme's mom? That was my hot take. Yeah.
There were a lot of things that annoy me about Spencer's plan. I don't really want to call it that anymore. It's just vibes. Like, has he even said I have a plan? Because like, I feel like that's something we're projecting onto him. Actually, he's like, I know that Trina's innocent. I know that Esme's guilty, and I'm just vibing until I can find a way to prove it. I loved the Cartullo detective moment. It was perfect. It was
such
perfect.
a mess.
It was perfectly Spencer. I loved it so much. It was like, this is everything I want from Spencer Cassadine forever. Like 3 seasons. That's spring 2019.
Right. It also made me wonder about Esme's shoe game, because she's got a lot of shoes. We don't get to see her shoes. She doesn't talk about them.
I only ever see her in like platform sneakers. I guess they've had her in those same beige sandals. Like, those are her non-platform sneaker shoes.
Right.
But apparently but you know what? Like, rich people that's like a thing right now, is them paying lots of money to look like they're wearing Walmart clothes. So it is actually pretty realistic. Rich people look like, bums. I loved that. Spencer Cassadine, Cartullo detective. I loved actually I didn't love. I got very nervous when they started talking about how Esme and Spencer haven't had sex, because I was like, please don't make him have to have sex with her to like keep her off his trail. I'm glad that he didn't have to do that, and I absolutely do not want that. There are already enough like weird shit about consent on this show. I don't want my child have to have sex with this crazy girl that when he doesn't want to have sex with her. Please don't make that part of the plot. Nobody wants that. I don't want that. Spencer doesn't want that. Nobody wants that. Please, for the love of God. I'm just putting that out there.
Didn't want it when they were happy together.
No.
And he thought that they were good.
Right. I didn't want it then. I certainly do not want it now, because I saw some people, and I know they're joking, but there were like people who are like, just take one for the team. And I'm like, no, don't. You don't have to do that.
We don't have to see it. If he does, let's just, no.
Just no. Just don't do it. That's not needed for this plot, please. If we have like managed to get to this place where we're at, where this plot doesn't make any fucking sense, please, on top of that, please don't have our child have to have sex with someone he doesn't want to have sex with. It's like, it's just gross. I don't like it. I don't like that. Yes. And there's something about like a teenage boy doesn't want to have sex. My God. I'm just like, it doesn't make him superhuman that he's abstaining from sex. Anyway, there's some weird biological determinism stuff in there that I'm not even gonna do. But
anyone who's like not watching us doesn't get to see the disgust on my face. So for our listeners,
we are
disgusted.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all I got. Those are my hot takes.
Amy, you guys were talking about, Nina being a Karen. I think Amy is like the ultimate Karen, I think. She's like, I just wanted to have a day off. And I was like, oh, go away. And it was funny. It was like Nina was like, hey, Amy, how are you doing? Not saying it in a way where
Karen recognized Karen.
Right. And she just plops right and sits at Nina and Ava's table and talking smack. And I was like, she was definitely a fast forward moment for me. Sorry, Laura.
Right? Laura, right? She'll never live it down on this show. Is Sunny getting in on the grandparents' rights thing? Because like Curtis was like saying something about it, and then about Sunny having all this access to Wiley, and then Sunny said something to Drew that was kind of like, he's not gonna know me. So is Sunny gonna like petition for grandparents' rights?
Yes.
Just make it even dumber. Just pile on. My God. Nicholas can take a long walk off a short pier, is what I have in my notes. Did he really like double, triple, quadruple down on believing Esme over Trina?
Mm-hmm.
Even Laura was like, I actually believe Trina's innocent, but I'll hold off on Esme. You fucking dummy. That's why when Sunny called him an idiot, Laura was like, I birthed a fucking idiot.
She didn't say nothing.
Her face said it all. Like, damn, I birthed a fucking idiot. Laura's kids, my God, she deserves better. So I will say that Nina and Nell's grave actually like cemented for me why she shouldn't be around Wiley. Like her propping up that like she needs some help.
Mm-hmm.
And it was something that Sandra said when we were watching her like get Superman by Curtis, which was she looks like she's manic or something. Mm-hmm. And I think that I wonder if they're gonna bring some of that in. But I was like, you want to tell Wiley that Nell was a good person? When she was like, Carly, have they told Wiley about Harmony? You think they're supposed to wake the baby up and tell him about somebody he barely sees?
Right.
It was just like, oh no, you are really bad at this. You suck. So, that might be it. Oh, I was gonna have something. I kind of said this a while ago, but I do think, or not a while ago, earlier in the show, I do think that like when you started watching the show matters. And I think about that a lot when people like respond to us on social media or like leave comments for us. And I try really hard not to be like a snob. Because like we've been watching for a really long time. And so it's always interesting when somebody like leaves us like a tidbit of history. And I'm like, or like says something to us. I'm like, I've seen the show. I've seen it twice. I've definitely seen it probably for longer than you. But I have to remember, like, oh, of course, like, because you know the show's been going on for so long that even though I think I've been watching for a while, there are people who have been watching longer than me, and it's just like something I keep thinking about. How different it is when you like start something and watch it live versus like when you watch it back, like on YouTube. Even like if somebody, not even like even if it's Netflix, like I've been watching Grey's Anatomy since the very beginning. And so Grey's Anatomy hits different for me as somebody who's been watching it for 17 years, however many years, versus now. And so I just keep thinking about the reactions from people. And and it makes me wonder who the show is like listening to, not in a good or bad way, but like where are they getting their feedback from? Because it feels like they're not getting it from like longtime viewers. It feels like the feedback that they're like incorporating is like an immediate and a right now thing that it contributes to the bad storytelling, but that doesn't invite older viewers back. So I'm thinking a lot about like Days bringing back Bo Brady. Like that's huge. Like, and I don't even know if GH would have the range to bring back somebody like iconic like that, because they don't pay attention to history. Anyway, that's just something I was thinking about.
It's very generous for you to assume that they're taking in feedback from anywhere.
True.
I don't think they're taking it from new viewers or old viewers. I think I'm sure that they get feedback from somewhere, but it's probably mostly the network, to be honest.
True.
And maybe the actors that have more sway in their, contract negotiations.
Yeah. I don't know. I was personally like emotional and like excited for Bo to come back to Days. And I was just like, GH doesn't even invest in like legacy kids. Like, where are the Cassadine kids? Where are like they just like have so little investment in like legacy that I can't even think of anybody who could come back and be that exciting.
Makes me wonder, like, a good opportunity for them would be to do it during like these, GH convention things that I hear about, that people go to. So like wonder what happens at those conventions. Do they do like, surveys, or do they do, just kind of like asking them, what are your favorite things about GH? What would you like to see happen here? That kind of stuff.
They don't
opportunity. Or do they listen to the fans' comments while they're there?
I don't think so.
So.
All right. Well.
I think too with GH, it's part of the issue is that like I don't know who they would bring on that they haven't already brought back. And some of that is that like actually a lot of the legacy characters that got brought back actually got brought back when Ron was head writer. Like Anna, like Robert, Laura, Kevin, Lucy, you know, so that's also Ron is head writer at Days now. So I think that has a little bit of something to do with it too, is that like we already kind of had that vet renaissance, and now what they actually need to do is now leverage those characters better. Because I don't know who else to bring back at this point, to be honest.
I think I've heard people wanting to bring Lucky back. It
was me. I was people.
Hey, people. I think I've also heard people wanting Gia back.
Yeah. But my face reflected that I told him myself. I was like, sure.
I get why people are excited for like Gia. She's also was with the Nicholas that we don't talk about, who's like kind of weird now, right? Like, I understand Gia. I understand wanting to expand Keisha, and I don't think it should be expand Trina's family. And I don't think it's an either or, but if it were either or, I would much prefer to rebuild the wards. Like, let's bring Keisha back with a secret AJ baby. You know what I mean? Like
a secret what?
AJ baby.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if we're getting like Austin, we could certainly get some like secret wards to come across the woodwork.
No, but instead we're getting Josh Kelly cast. We need just another middle-aged white man we don't need.
Who is he playing?
Who cares?
It's under wraps.
Sorry.
Please don't apologize. Fuck, dude. I'm like, and if we're gonna get him, why? We actually don't need any more just like random white dudes, like blandum white dudes. And if we got back a bland white dude, not even bland, but like bring back the dude who played Dustin. I liked him.
Yeah, Mark Lawson.
Mark
Lawson. He's a much better actor.
Yes.
He has better politics in real life. And yeah, I liked him. I didn't like him with Lulu because I don't like Lulu, but he can come back as a different character.
Yeah.
Just stop bringing white men on the show.
I'm already ready for Ryan to have a murder spree of some of these white dudes. What the fuck is a Dex?
I don't need this.
What was the point of Dex?
He's, I guess,
to give Sonny something to do.
Yeah, there's gonna be more of him, and he honestly, I can't tell the difference between him and Josh Kelly, and I know they're not even the same age, but they just look the same to me. They both look like white dudes who could be named Chris, which I guess like Josh is the same thing. I just don't care. Can we move on?
I think you moved us on. I'm ready to talk about preview.
Just ready to be done talking about this week. But now we have to talk about next week. Great.
Oh gosh.
Sorry, y'all. I've got an attitude today.
Please do not apologize. You have been unswept. You deserve your feelings.
Okay.
And it sounds like we're going to continue to be unswept, huh?
Yeah. Don't expect any sweeping to happen. Let's start with ELQ and Wiley's adults. Boo, tomato, tomato. On Monday, the Quartermains gather to see Leo recite his poem. Good for Leo. Drew and Michael offered Ned a position at ELQ/Aurora. And of course, I think we can guess he's not gonna like it. Actually, I think in Soap Opera Digest, which was funny because they sent out the link from last week, this week, and we had to wait for it. Anyway, classic Mercury retrograde. They're gonna offer Ned COO, and he's gonna be like, that's not good enough. So riveting.
Tragic.
Tuesday, Michael and Drew receive an unexpected offer from Carly. At his birthday party, Leo reminds Chase of the promise he made. Ned has a meeting with someone unexpected. It's expected to me because it's going to be Valentine. Heads up. Sunny and Brando on Wednesday reconnect about the challenges of family at the garage. Meanwhile, Thursday, Bobby will overhear when Carly arrives at GH to pick up the test results and has questions. Bobby's gonna be like, Caroline, what mess have you made and how can I be of support is what I'm guessing. Let Bobby be messy. As Nina has an uncomfortable encounter at the Savoy, Sunny arrives. And then Friday, tensions rise at the Savoy when Bobby, Carly, Sunny, and Nina all cross paths. And finally, the moment we've all been waiting for, Michael and Willow have a lovely parental moment at home before things turn romantic.
On Friday?
That's our Friday closer.
Sorry, Laura Wright, but you know what I'm about to do.
We're also going to get a little Philomena action. Gladys on Tuesday is going to figure out what Sasha has been hiding. And then on Wednesday, she's going to confront Sasha with the pill bottle. So cool. Hat Daddy. I'm so sorry, Tanya. This is going to be a rough week for you. On Monday, Stella is going to tell Curtis the truth about what she knew. So I guess she's going to say more about that. Is she going to be fully truthful? Probably not. Then Wednesday, TJ and Molly go to Brooklyn in hopes of tracking Marshall down.
Will it be the old neighborhood Brooklyn or a different Brooklyn?
Only time can tell. Is there such a thing as the old neighborhood still like intact in Brooklyn though, is what I want to know.
Has it been gentrified?
Yeah, because I was just like, everywhere in Brooklyn's been gentrified. So I don't even feel like there is an old neighborhood anymore for anyone. Sorry, Brooklynites. And then Friday, TJ tries to calm things when events take an intense turn in Brooklyn. So also, there's gonna be a lot of Portia this week. So she's gonna be in the I think it's gonna be more Portia on the sex tape, like Trina storyline versus like Portia supporting Curtis. But she also on Thursday, I have this note that just says Black Hospital. Which is Stella drops in on Portia and Epiphany at GH and they all decide to take the evening in a different direction. So that was my Black Hospital spoiler. I hope they go out and have fun and this is something that happens again in the future.
And then they run into Phyllis.
Like, come on, Phyllis, let's get away from these white people.
That would be hilarious if they did just go off on all the white people they run into.
I would love
it.
And
then Amy rolls up and is like, can I sit with y'all?
You cannot sit with us. Amy. Let me keep going. Let's see. Then, okay, so we talked about Het. We talked about Black Hospital. Liz mystery. Picks back up on Thursday. Finn, I mean, we might see her before then, but Finn, Laura, and Kevin have a fraught interaction with Elizabeth. And Gregory and Violet enjoy each other's company at Kelly's. Cool, I guess. And then on Friday, Finn wonders to Gregory if Violet is onto something. So does she call him an overbearing dumbass or a vampire?
What if Violet calls Finn a vampire? I would love it.
I love that.
And he's a vampire.
Jophiel has the same last name as me.
Oh, your cousin Jophiel.
Cute little white girl cousin. Yay.
So there's a couple like love in the afternoon spoilers / there's not going to be any love in the afternoon.
Oh, we'll be like, oh, Conte's going to have a love in the afternoon.
Finally, BLQ and Chase are going to bang.
No, on Wednesday, they're going to be interrupted again.
Oh.
By an unwelcomed arrival. I think it's going to have something to do with Link. He was the record producer that was trying to like extort Brooklyn with sex. Yeah, so I think he's going to show back up because he's in the spoilers for the week after. So great. Just another great sweeps moment. We really were asking for more sexual violence. Amazing. And then Monday, after asking Anna about her relationship with Valentine, Felicia calls him out about his intentions. So we're finally going to get some talking about Vanna. I feel like I think Anna and Felicia were in the previews together. So I'm hoping that Valentine and Anna will actually interact. So this is where we're at. I'm just like, maybe they'll look at each other. I don't know. Anyway. And then finally, here are the sex tape previews. Monday, after a disappointing encounter with Spencer, Esme manipulates Nicholas. Trina shares some disheartening news with Ava and Portia. And we also know that there is a scene between Portia and Spencer, and she reads the fuck out of him. And that's honestly probably what I'm looking forward to most this week. On Tuesday, Ava and Esme butt heads while Sam tells Spencer she needs answers. So will we actually see if they get through a whole scene without acknowledging that Spencer and Sam are cousins? I'm going to lose my mind. I just have to say, I'm afraid I will be losing my mind. Wednesday, Portia opens up to Curtis about her apprehension about Trina's situation. And then on Friday, finally, Taggart has stopped running. He will be confronting Jordan about Trina when Portia steps in. And that is our week.
There's also that very fun video of Portia confronting Spencer. That's like the teaser for tomorrow, for Monday. So I'm excited for that.
Yep.
Woohoo. Sounds exciting. Can't wait.
I can't believe nothing's happening at this art fair. Like there's no crash, no nothing. It's just a poem. Wow.
I think Leo's gonna do amazing.
Leo's amazing. It's amazing, but wow. Wow.
Would have been funny maybe if Leo had found out that Nina is Willow's mom and he busted it out during the poem. That would have been a great speech.
That would be a great moment.
Right.
If only you were waiting.
Like he overhears Carly or something. You're going to get a DNA test? and then she's like, yes, I'm going to find out if Nina is Will's mom. Don't tell anyone, okay? And then he's like, okay. And then tells everyone.
He's on his Robin.
Right.
It's giving old Cam and Spencer vibes, like baby Cam and Spencer vibes.
Well, another week of being unswept, but here we are. So next week, Saturday, we are having, so that'd be the 21st, we're having a Twitter Spaces with Jen M, Erica with a K, Tara from Port Misery around misogyny and soaps. So I've already started doing my research. I'm very excited about it. We will record it and put it up on the podcast platform as well. But if you go to our Twitter, you'll see that Spaces is scheduled. Next week is Kelly Monaco's birthday. So there's going to be, we've changed our profile picture, and we're going to be taking part in the Sam Fam fandom events. What a joy to be a Sam fan. You know what I'm saying? Just chemistry magnet, Samantha McCall. I was a stan from the very beginning. And then I saw her on Daddy Soap and I was like, my standing was correct. So we're excited to celebrate, be messy, and post some of our favorite Sam content over the next week. Is there anything else, y'all, before we head out?
Stay hydrated.
Stay hydrated.
Mm-hmm.
Mind your business.
Mind your business.
Watch Star Wars. Obi-Wan's gonna debut in 2 weeks.
I'm trying.
I guess I'll have to watch that prequel.
I know. I was like, I'm just gonna watch the third one. The third prequel. I can't do the other two.
Oh, don't do those. But watch Clone Wars if you haven't.
Oh, you know what?
The cartoon.
You know what? I haven't. And you know what? I'm going to. Thank you.
Yes.
Oh, you got it.
Oh, always. Let me know if you need an essential list. But Disney Plus has a category of essential Obi-Wan shows on Clone Wars. So you can, yeah.
Perfect.
There you go.
Boom. All right. Well, peace. Find us on Twitter and Instagram. Yeah, and that's it. See y'all next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.